All right, everybody. I hope you had a good lunch and got some sunshine. We are going to get our afternoon sessions kicked off. Our first one is going to be around a customer case study about collaborative efforts. So I would like to welcome your panelist and your moderator to the stage. Thanks, everyone. Okay. Hello, hello. Hopefully no kale in our teeth. We're all doing okay after lunch. So I'm Michelle Green, Director of Product at Cohley. Been here for about 4 years. Got to join y'all on stage last year talking about creators, so love to see that this morning. It was so fun to learn from all the creators and get more perspectives. But I'm really excited to have Power Digital with me here now. And we'll let Hannah and Cassandra introduce themselves.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Hannah. I'm an Associate Director of our Creators Program at Power Digital and have been in the Power Digital space for almost 6 years now, specializing more so in organic social strategy for a while. But that's what really caused me to have that interest in UGC and video strategy. And so I've been sitting in this kind of creators leadership seat for almost a year now.
Perfect. And I am Kassandra. I am the managing director of our research and development team, which oversees a number of products. I specifically oversee our social product at Power Digital, as well as our creators arm with Hannah. And I've been with the team for almost 7 years now, really focused in organic social for most of that time, so was very close to the original workings of our creators program and all things UGC.
Awesome. So just to set the stage a little bit, let's learn a bit more about Power Digital. What makes your offering distinct?
Yeah, so Power Digital is a full-service digital and performance marketing agency. We run end-to-end commerce growth through performance, brand strategy, and measurement services. We have over 20 services, and one of those is social, as I mentioned, that really umbrellas organic social and influencer offerings, and it's where our creators offering was conceived. It now lives in our research and development team, which really is focused on fueling our most innovative and fastest growing channels, which creators now is. So really excited to dive into that a little bit more.
10 years later, still under R&D,
Yes.
still ever changing, always growing.
Social is never in one place.
No.
So let's talk about this creator services offering. How did it come about? When did it come about? Was it UGC that kind of led that foray?
Yeah, I mean, Power Digital has always had some of those influencer marketing services, but UGC and creator content in that sense didn't really start to come into the fold at Power until right before COVID. But obviously, as we know, COVID times really changed the game on social and for content as well. And so, as we know, TikTok blew up. Social commerce was a huge thing. People were researching on social platforms in the way that they were Googling things. And we also saw that authenticity was really winning on platforms for our clients. And that's when that need for user-generated content, not just influencer marketing, really became a big thing for our clients. And so we kind of started from there.
Okay, so take us back. What was the process of creating UGC back then, the old manual way?
Yeah, we really kind of had to figure it out. And to your point, it was very, very manual. We started off with building a creator community, and it consisted of just our internal Power Digital employees getting scrappy and creating content themselves for our clients. But as that evolved, as we saw that need grow, we expanded to outside creators and then eventually built that offering even more. But of course, as we said, it was such a manual process. We were owning everything from A to Z, and it was taking hours and weeks and months, and we weren't able to scale or even just provide clients with that content quickly where they needed it, because it was just us kind of getting scrappy internally. And so it could end up taking months to get content from some of those manual processes. So again, wasn't really able to scale there, and that's why we looked to Cohley for a solution and started working with you guys in 2024.
Yes, 2 years. Congratulations.
Yes.
And one thing I would add to that is, I think at our quickest in our old process, it was taking like 42 days to go from concept to getting the client the final video, which is unacceptable. If you work at an agency, you need to give your clients more and more quickly. And so we knew we had a real problem we had to find a solve for.
For sure.
Our KPI, our average is currently 28 days. We've been there like strong for 3 months. We're still working on getting that number down, but that also includes getting the creator paid. So that means the client already got the content, right?
Yeah.
So we can shave 3 days off.
Right.
Perfect. Love it. Okay, so how do you assess when the client is a good fit for Cohley, or you want to run that first Cohley brief?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a couple of things that we consider for if a client's a good fit for our UGC services. First and foremost, they can handle that volume. They're able to get that creator content, actually use it, take advantage of it. Of course, that they're leveraging multiple channels, so not just organic social or something like that, but they're also doing CTV, retail, affiliate, different kind of channels and platforms like that as well. That they are open to authentic content, and then also that they have that test and learn mindset. So really open to testing different concepts, creatives, creators, and being willing to see how that affects performance and having us help them optimize those strategies, that content based off of those learnings.
Amazing. And we've talked about the brief writing in a few different sessions already today, and I know you've iterated a lot over the past 2 years.
Yes.
And it seems like you have found a template that works fairly well for you. Can you tell us more about what you've learned and how you came about that?
Yeah, our brief language has definitely changed since 2024. With Power and our clients, we're currently launching 30 to 50 briefs at a time each month. And so obviously that's a lot of volume, comes with a lot of learnings as well. So we're able to get that feedback from creators and optimize our templates or our briefs. To your point, even in the earlier panel with the creators, we obviously want to ensure that our briefs aren't overdoing it. And so we realized that brief language is one of the most important things to nail, but can also be the easiest thing to mess up. And so we've really learned over the past even just couple of months of how to be more specific with creative direction without kind of overdoing it in the brief. So I know specificity can be a little bit challenging or daunting when you hear like, oh yeah, we need our briefs to be more detailed, but in the way that makes sense for creators. So that doesn't mean over-scripting or putting in too many brand guidelines or things like that. Obviously, sometimes those things are important, but it's more so about focusing on what is the action or emotion that we want the content to give. What is that problem that we're able to solve for the viewer with our concept, or even just simply giving more direction and examples of content that the brand wants and we think can really work with performance too. So we've been able to craft and customize over the past couple of months, have been able to get more direct and specific in certain ways, because obviously we know we've tested and learned from providing very detailed scripts or giving a lot of detailed shot lists or guidelines. And when that content is received, we see that it loses that authenticity and then, of course, affects performance too.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, you have the focus, you have the direction, the key concept, then the non-negotiables, but not the script, not the language itself.
Yes. Yeah, more about that concept and that content and what we're really trying to do with it versus we need to hit these 3 brand messaging guidelines or something like that.
Perfect. And Cass, how do you take that to the client? How do you keep that conversation going and that collaboration when it's coming from Cohley to make sure it gets activated?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when it comes to our client relationships, we really strive to be an extension of their teams. And I think before content generation even starts, it's understanding the client, their category, the product, what's worked in the past, what hasn't, so that our briefs are really hitting the mark. And one of the ways that Cohley has really helped us streamline that workflow is that it gives the client the ability to be as involved as they want to be or also as out of the picture. And that really depends. We have a wide range of clients. Some want to know everything that we are doing at every minute, and some really let us own that process and are fully trusting that the creators team is going to bring their vision to life. And so that's really been a great unlock for us as far as collaboration with the client and just making sure that we're hitting their goals. It came up a little bit earlier too, that like the brand awareness of it all. That's not always the goal, and really understanding from the jump what the client is trying to achieve then really helps us do our job better.
Yeah, and I would say too, on the internal collaboration side of things, obviously communicating with the client is important, but also ensuring we're doing our job internally as well in the collaboration side. So, for example, we had a food and beverage client who we were only using UGC services and content for organic social on Instagram and TikTok. And one of our organic social strategists started putting some money, some boosting strategy behind that content, and it was performing really well. And so she was able to share that content with the other strategists on the team who are on the CTV side. And so we started testing our UGC assets there and proved to be really successful. So I think collaboration can definitely come on both ends, not only with the client, but internally as well, as not only seeing opportunity, but also optimizing our strategies based off of some of those learnings and other channels they're already running too.
I think that's come up a few times today in conversations I've been having, is all the different siloed teams within. How do you make sure that content's getting distributed and not just sitting in the content library? Like we paid for it. We know it can really perform well.
Yeah,
Totally. Yeah, I mean, quite frankly, if your UGC is just going to one platform, it is a bit of a waste. I mean, it can do great on that one platform if that's the goal, but we really try to generate assets that can be used cross-channel. And because we have so many services at Power Digital and so many experts, we can really bring those people into the fold for our clients if it makes sense, and if we find that opportunity, and really make sure that we are maximizing what that one asset can do.
Yeah.
Communication's a challenge everywhere, right?
Those full usage rights are a game changer for us too, because we're able to test and learn across those. And then to your earlier point about making sure that content gets taken advantage of, we've been able to learn over time as well, putting that content in a format that not only works for us internally to be able to have different strategists pulling that, using that on different channels and platforms, but also in a format that works for the client too. So they're able to easily download all the assets, share that out with their teams. They're able to use it how they see fit too. So it's been a good learning process, but making sure that we're taking advantage of those assets, especially with 50 plus briefs live at a time, things can fall through the cracks. So just making sure it's easy to send out and download for sure.
Any agency unlocks? I know we have a few agencies in the room today.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think communication's a big piece of that, but I think more specifically bringing the client into the fold of the strategy as soon as possible. We learn a lot about that maybe in the discovery process, maybe in our onboarding or kickoff phase of the partnership, but part of that idea of bringing them into the fold early is also education and making sure they understand our philosophy on UGC, on social, why we want to cast a certain creator, why we want to test these certain hooks or different tactics. And what that really does for us is then later in the partnership, it really shows we're executing on a plan we collaborated on together versus us defending some strategies. I think in the social world, when you're at an agency, you can sometimes make assumptions on if a point of contact or a decision maker really understands the space fully. You sometimes work with individuals who don't. And so you don't want to assume that they do and then have to re-explain your why much later. So I would say that's my number one unlock, is sharing the why and the education and your team's philosophy behind the space as early as possible in a partnership.
Yeah, definitely.
So follow-up question, at what point do you know which creator you want to partner with, or the type of creator you want to partner with?
Yeah, I mean, I would say in the discovery phase of a potential client, we're already thinking about, do we have the resources that we can support them with? Using Cohley obviously gives us a huge pool of creators that we can pull from. And so we're able to be pretty clear with the client on what those opportunities are. And then, of course, once we kick off with the client and really understand their goals a bit more deeply, understand what has not worked so much in the past and what we want to test out, we're able to start kind of putting together those internal briefs, but also those strategy decks with the client that we can walk through live and collaborate on together and really get their buy-in early.
Yeah, and that's to reiterate Cass's point as well, it's why it's so important in the early stages of our partnership to really collaborate and get all of that information, those goals squared away. We have done a lot of learning and optimizing our processes where we now create campaign alignment docs. We have regular brainstorms. Obviously, we and our team has that expertise on the creator and UGC side of things, but also taking into account, of course, what they're looking for from that partnership. And we've been able to just really leverage that in a way that we're able to almost own every step of the process A to Z for them and act more as an addition to their team versus a separate agency. And so they can be super involved in selecting the creators, to your point, but being able to establish that relationship and that alignment early on so they can count on us to select the creators that we know are going to perform based off of just all of our context, knowing the industry, things like that.
I also just love if you have an idea going into before you write the brief and you can tailor the brief to that creator and speak to that audience and say, oh, I'm a creator reading this brief. I know this is for me or it's not for me. Yeah. Selfishly, it makes my job a little easier too. The more data we have, the better matching we can do. We'll really make it sure that we're giving you the pool of very targeted, right creators, not just, here's 1,000, have fun. No one wants to do that. That's not efficient.
Right, and that's why that new Fin feature, shameless plug, is very helpful too with the maybe-in creators. You know, like I mentioned, we're dealing with so many briefs per month that features like that or recommendations from Fin or the platform in general are so helpful to our team to, especially for briefs or campaigns where there's 300 plus applicants. Nobody wants to scroll through those manually and look into each and every one. So those kind of tools have been such a game changer for us too.
Amazing. That's a good segue into our next little topic of conversation is measurement. So what KPIs are y'all really focused on? Hours in platform, assets per creator, assets per brand?
Yeah, I'll take a little step back. I mean, operational efficiency in general is very important to our whole organization, especially right now in the age of automation. I'm sure many in this room can relate to that. So across the org, we're looking at things like hours saved using a particular tool, number of clients that we can manage, number or amount of revenue that a team member can manage. But with creators specifically, we're really looking at, how many assets are we able to generate, how many briefs are we able to go live, and how long is that taking us? Over the last 90 days, we've launched well over 200 briefs, and so that really comes with a need to be efficient and find ways to optimize that workflow. And when you look at the 90 days prior to that, we've actually saved 65% as far as hours spent doing that same workflow, really because of being able to beta test tools like Fin, of course, optimizing based on our own learnings. We have a great team at Cohley we work with Anna and Michelle, that really helps us with those best practices. And so really continuing to learn what works best for our team, for our clients, maximizing all the tools and features available to us really helps us save that time and generate more assets, launch more briefs, and do more for our clients.
Amazing. And is that the same KPIs that you're measuring for your clients, or talk about the content KPIs that we're looking for?
Yeah, I mean, I think the internal efficiencies definitely will help the output that we're able to give to clients, but I think when we measure success of an asset for a client, it's really going to come down to their goals and the channels that those assets are activating on. So, of course, for organic social, that might look like things like engagement, reach. For paid social, of course, looking at ROAS, conversion rates, CPMs. We're working with our paid teams to measure that success. But it really, again, comes down to what that client's goal is. We had one F&B client, I think Hannah was alluding to it earlier. They have some spots in New York, so it's been fun to see them around. But they came to us last year with a huge follower growth goal, which that's still a thing for some brands, even though we definitely don't love that metric. But they really wanted to lean into UGC to help spark that growth through awareness and reaching more eyes. And so because we're working with Cohley, we were able to work with creators willing to go into the store, making sure we're working with them collaboratively. We generated a ton of assets. We beat that 25,000 follower goal well above schedule. We hit 10 million views. The client was thrilled. And so that's really the story we like to tell with our clients is, what's your end goal? How do we want to use UGC or generate UGC to hit that and kind of back into the strategy that way and test out new ways of working with creators.
So do you think it was the brand awareness vibe of seeing the store and walking into the scene is what did it for followers, that they wanted to see more of that kind of content, or what was the tone?
Yeah, definitely a part of it. I would say the volume we were able to generate was a huge piece of it because it was also able to fuel a lot of testing. And then to one of the earlier points today, we were able to boost some of those too. So putting some ad spend to make sure that we are reaching the right audience, but new eyes, and that really catapulted us to hit those goals.
Yeah, I think too it's just cool to see some of our clients who have that in-store or on-site element. I know one of the creators in the earlier panels was talking about IRL, and that was more so around inviting creators to events and things like that. But we have seen so much excitement and interest from creators in going in person to film or things like that as well. So it has been cool to test those opportunities. For example, for that client, we get so many applicants just because it is just a fun brand to be able to go to in person and create content for. And we find that we don't have to be as specific in our briefs, kind of like I mentioned earlier, because people are able to go and genuinely show their experience and why they love the brand and the product. So it's kind of been a win-win.
Amazing. Okay, I'm going to sit in my director hot seat here. Feedback, learning moment for me. What have you been testing? What's working? What's not working? Any new emerging opportunities on Cohley, off of Cohley?
We've been doing so much testing, as we've talked about, but I think there are just really cool opportunities that we kind of mentioned before around different goals, different channels and services. And so, for example, we had a baby brand come to us with more of that unique goal of wanting to drive awareness and purchases at one of their major retailers. So we were able to leverage the influencer campaign through Cohley and really test more of that in-person, on-site content and feature, and have been seeing such great results from that. It was more of like kind of that lower budget campaign, which I know can be tricky for that added in-store element, but again, saw so much excitement from creators around applications, wanting to go in store, just wanting to be involved with the brand and be able to promote that. And I think that just speaks to the exciting product, the cool brand, as well too. Some other things that we've been testing is product trade reviews with creators. And so that's been a cool one for us with our TikTok shops team, and being able to have creators receive the product, order it through TikTok shop, write a genuine review, and be able to boost up that product's review on TikTok shop. A lot of our clients come to start building their TikTok shop from the ground up, and so that helps with that legitimacy, or even with like specific products that they want to promote on TikTok shop and they don't have any reviews. So stuff like that has been really great to test. As you know, of course, within Cohley, we've been really moving into testing more of the brand profiles feature. It's been a huge one for us. Shout out Anna as well for that recommendation. But it might seem obvious to some of the Cohley users in here around brand profiles, but as an agency, we were pretty hesitant to be using that at first, just because, again, we have so many clients, so many brands, and we wanted to just be able to house that all under our Power Digital profile. But being able to use that has really changed the game for us when it came to more creators were applying to our briefs when they were through a brand profile versus an agency profile. We're able to get more specific recommendations from Finn and from Cohley just based off of having that separate like data and only briefs for that client to be able to build out versus taking all of that data from the Power Digital profile. And then, of course, just all of the great AI features that come with it, too. So Finn's recommendations, maybe in creators, and then also the content analyzations as well has been really helpful using that brand profile tool, and has just been an organization workflow game changer for us, too. In our agency profile, we obviously had, like Cass said, sometimes 200 briefs live in 3 months, and so we were getting hundreds of thousands of notifications. So being able to use that tool now in the brand profile feature was a game changer too. So it's the little things, but it's definitely been huge for us process-wise as well as quality-wise too.
Helpful for organization and efficiency.
Yes.
Love it. Okay. And then in terms of your day-to-day, AI has obviously changed our mental models, what we're able to do. I am pushing very hard towards Finn being able to do everything by end of year. As of today, you can accept or reject content with Finn. So woo. Shameless plug. Not just, and accepting creators. Yes, you can maybe and accept content and creators. Perfect. Make sure I say that one right. So what tools are you using? Are we pro AI? Are we a little bit AI doomsday? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I can kick off here. Yeah, I mean, as an agency, we're certainly empowering our team to get creative on the ways that we use AI. It's really changed most of our day-to-days outside of just the, creator space, but always finding ways to optimize our workflows, really to allow time to be more strategic for our clients. It'll give us more time to test. And, you talked about emerging opportunities a second ago. Hannah hit on so many coming out of Cohley, but I like to think about outside of the platform itself, how are we testing this content in other places, and the LLMs that we talked about earlier. So I mean, it's absolutely been something that we have a big focus on. I would say the one area that we don't want to touch is the content generation coming out of AI.
Agreed.
This was also mentioned earlier, and it's something that is really important to us. As someone who's very passionate about the social space, I want to keep the integrity of that. And so to see content that is very clearly made with AI, it just hurts my soul a bit. So definitely don't want to touch anything on the content generation front, really focus on workflow and kind of doing all the other things that lead to great partnerships, working with awesome creators, and then kind of testing and being strategic. So
Yeah, and I think on the AI side for creators, the Fin and Cohley features have been amazing for efficiency and everything as well. And I think my team already uses so many different AI tools outside of the platform that it's really nice to be able to have AI features within the platform too, so we can kind of consolidate our efforts into one platform as well. So that's been really great. But I think obviously we need and want to be more efficient and automate some of those processes. But at the same time, our team is very aware that we don't want to lose that relationship building with creators. We want to be able to still have that personality or that personal touch in messages and back and forth with creators as well. And obviously we want to be able to save time on some of those things too, but don't want to lose that relationship aspect. And so we're just really excited to see how Fin can help us with that over the next year, just to see where we can keep that strategy and that relationship building, but still be able to scale even more with the amount of clients and briefs we can manage.
Yeah. Curious internally, would you say you're trying to get your team fairly AI literate, getting access to whether it's ChatGPT or Claude, and making sure everyone is being upskilled?
yes, 100%. It's definitely a big investment for Power Digital. I think at any given time, you'll see ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, all pulled up on my computer and most of our team. I think we're still in the process of rolling that out, but we want to give our team the resources to get creative and build solutions that will help all steps of their workflow. So yeah, definitely a focus for Power right now.
One of the terms I've been reading about recently is click tax. So having to know where to click on the page, what clicks to take, the whole user flow. So if you can just have a conversation and you don't have to learn the platform or know where to click, is that better at the end of the day? So curious, where do you think 2026, 2027 would go? What are your dream vision for Cohley or the creator economy in general?
Yeah, I can touch on a few. I think internally for my team, a dream is to still work on workflows, timeline efficiencies, things like that. As you heard in these questions, we've definitely learned a lot and been able to scale, and we've gotten quicker, especially from our manual process that we had before where it would take months. But I think especially at an agency, deadlines, urgency is a real thing. And so being able to just streamline our processes and our workflows even more, to be able to tap into timely trends for clients or support an upcoming launch without having to need like a 6-week briefing timeline or things like that too. So definitely working in those areas and want to make sure that we can see those improvements, but we've seen so much success already with the features we've been using, the process improvements we've been making as well. And then I think a dream just in the creator landscape in general is, as we saw today, of course, UGC and creator content is so impactful and has been driving such strong performance for brands and clients, and they know that. But my hope is that as that continues to grow and scale, that clients and brands' trust in creators also continues to grow and scale with that too. So just ensuring that they don't feel like they need to overscript or have too much promotional messaging and things like that, that we can provide a brief that is aligned with their brand guidelines, but also gives the creator more freedom as well. And so I think just being able to have that trust built with clients and brands would be a game changer in the process to help us from, not bottlenecking us further with rounds and rounds of revisions, or we need to have certain topics to hit on, things like that. So just really looking for more of that trust in creators in general so they can have more of that creative freedom to have that authentic content to drive performance.
Yeah, and I think for me, more just looking at the creator economy in general, one thing that really excites me is, and this also came up earlier, but the intersection of creator marketing and AI search. One of my side quests outside of creators was building our Reddit strategy at Power Digital, and a lot of that was born out of clients saying we want to show up in LLMs. And so I think understanding where does creator marketing fall in that, and even traditional search. A couple weeks ago, I literally Googled, does X hotel have complimentary breakfast? And one of the top hits was an Instagram post, and it was talked about in the video and in the caption. And so thinking about, okay, how do we integrate that as part of our brief strategy if that's a client's goal, in a way that, again, still kind of holds the integrity of being authentic and a creator. And so I'm really interested to see where that goes. It's very clear that those tools are pulling from creator and community-driven conversations. And so our goal is to really make those as credible and authentic as possible, whether that's through more traditional social media tactics or different UGC that we want to test. So that's something I'm very interested to see what's to come.
We've come a long way since hashtags, right?
Yeah.
Hashtag was funneling everything.
Our
This is what
client's
you
favorite
searched
word
by.
still.
Now it's like, oh, what's in the transcript? What's in the narrative? How did we categorize this based on the AI analyzing the asset itself?
Yeah, I mean, literally as recent as 6 months ago. I mean, you still have clients saying, where are all of our hashtags at the end of a post? And being able to educate on that a little bit and kind of shift with the times has been really exciting, a little scary, but yeah, we're thrilled to see where it goes.
We have the designs ready to put the hashtags that are most common per creator. I don't know if we need them. Like,
You can throw those
we're
away.
debating that one. Does it go live? Amazing. Okay, I guess this last question, is there anything that you think Power Digital needs to be ready for? The next thing that you need to plan on for next year?
Yeah, I mean, we're really focused on our internal tech, so being able to build some of these tools ourselves. But yeah, I think the GEO of it all, so AI search, optimizing across channels. We're collaborating really closely with our GEO team already on all things social, but creators as well, as I just mentioned. So that's what we're really trying to get ahead of right now.
Amazing. Okay. 15 seconds. Just went red. Any last questions for our wonderful panelists here? We hit on all the topics. Thank you all so much for being here. Really appreciate it.